This is Fountain
Every
Street
week I find it
Church.
hard to find the best ones, but somehow, like I said, you'll hear what I'm trying to say even when the words
Here,
aren't right.
we strive to free the mind, grow the soul, and change the world. Here, there is freedom to doubt and freedom to believe. Here, you can find a house of prayer for all people.
The swallow up Jonah.
Welcome to Fountain Street Church. Join us on the journey.
So my title is Transformation Through Chronic Pain, a Personal Journey. And I thought, having named my sermon some months ago, that it might be a good idea to look up the word transform in my trusted Red Webster's dictionary to make sure I was using the right word. My Webster's, which has been used for so many years, duct tape is needed on the spine to join the front to the back. I don't do online dictionaries. I'm old. It gave several meanings, such as to change in composition or structure, to change the outward form or appearance of, to change in character or condition. Sounds easy enough. Now, I believe that to describe an experience or sequence of events such as transformational, it can only be done in retrospect, after some resolution has been achieved. I say this because the typical goal in the midst of dealing with a life crisis is simply survive, bumping from one day to the next, often in a blur of anxiety, stress, or depression, with feelings of haplessness and hopelessness. Our permission is not sought before life throws us a curveball. Nobody asked me, Lise, do you mind if your right side becomes so mangled to the point that you land in a wheelchair and are bedridden and in such god-awful pain that you contemplate suicide? If you'd rather pass, just let me know. No. Part of what is so mind-boggling about our journey is that we have no choice in a lot of things, in most things. We run smack into a brick wall that we didn't see coming. Would I have voluntarily attempted this arduous journey? I'm sure I would not have. I wish to make plain that at no time during my breast cancer diagnosis and treatment and subsequent 8-year chronic pain ordeal did I say to myself, Lisa, you're transforming. Lucky you, bring it on. No. I was not a hero. I fought this all of the way, kicking and screaming, scared to death, bolting from my pain. For many years, hope seemed nearly invisible. A tiny, faint flicker, overwhelmed by many unanswerable questions, such as, why me? Why did I survive breast cancer to end up like this? What good is my life now? How can I continue like this? Is this all there is? I also wish to articulate that I am only describing my personal journey. I am not the spokesperson for all cancer survivors or for everyone who suffers from chronic pain. For those of you who are in this chapel this morning who are survivors yourself or in chronic pain, my intent is not to compare and contrast my ordeal with yours or to imply that I have found the one true path and you have not. I am not an expert, I'm one of you. And I thank you for this treasured opportunity to reflect on my pain journey thus far. I am far from unique in experiencing chronic pain in this country. It is estimated that anywhere from 75 to 100 million Americans suffer from some type of chronic pain, which is defined as pain that lingers beyond the typical amount of time, usually 1 to 3 months, that it takes the tissue or injury to heal. What was acute pain turns into chronic pain. The loop in the nervous system, something happens to it, and the pain never shuts off. Chronic pain can also be considered a burden of aging, as more than half of patients reporting chronic pain are over age 55. Chronic pain costs the United States more than $100 billion a year. $100 billion a year in direct medical costs and lost productivity. And it leads to more than 500 million lost workdays annually. It packs a powerful punch. Chronic pain patients often travel helplessly for years from specialist to specialist, trying to find someone, anyone, who will make the proper diagnosis and make the pain go away. We endlessly search for the holy grail of pain relief. This search can dominate our lives and the lives of our loved ones for years. Feelings of anxiety, depression, and desperation go hand in hand with chronic pain, sapping self-respect as well as any hope for the future. Every failed treatment intensifies feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, rage, and anxiety. The possibility of ever living a normal, pre-pain life becomes more and more remote. Thoughts of suicide might impinge consciousness. A downward spiral ensues. For 8 years, I was one of those desperate lost souls, trying every treatment under the sun in an attempt to find something, anything, to stop the never-ending pain I experienced every day. My path started almost exactly 16 years ago in my professional and physical prime when our daughter was only 4 years old. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer on my right side. To make a very long story short, human-made measurement errors, and this was a major hospital in downtown Chicago, this was not Hicksville, allowed the rays during my radiation therapy to burn too deeply into my chest wall, searing to a crisp the thoracic nerves on my right side, causing unimaginable pain. Efforts to alleviate the severe intercostal neuralgia, which is the professional term for it, ended up in 2 back surgeries in which the muscles of my back were sliced down to my ribs and each thoracic nerve was frozen down to T9. We have 14 ribs, so more than halfway down. The surgeries were based on the accepted assumption that dead nerves no longer cause pain, and frozen nerves will regenerate, cross-link, and you'll be as good as new, maybe even better. I had dreams of being the bionic woman. I was going to get through this in one piece, and I could go back to my life, just like how it was. Unfortunately, the surgeries blew out the long thoracic nerve on my right side, cascading nerve and muscle damage accumulated in the complete atrophy of all the muscles on the right side of my back. My shoulder blade hung off my ribs like a poorly hinged door. This dysfunction is called a winged scapula. And I thought this description was deeply ironic because I was no beautiful winged creature, ready to take flight and soar above the clouds. I felt disgusted with my earthbound ugliness. I dragged my broken right wing behind me as I crawled around our home or limped along, holding onto my walker. Measurements taken by one of my physical therapists, and there were many of them, showed that just to hold me up erect, the muscles on my right side work twice as hard as normal muscles. These same muscles work 4 times as hard to allow me to move, walking, washing dishes, driving, baking, cooking, living. Because of this inequality in muscle functioning, my right side becomes exhausted quickly. As I said, I've experienced much physical therapy along the way, and I know some of you have too. In fact, I think if I added up all my physical therapy sessions and home workouts, I'm quite sure the total would be expressed not in months, but years. I know that you know physical therapy is far from enjoyable. It's brutal and agonizing. We are encouraged to continue exercises and reps that hurt like the dickens, but we are told will help us in the long run. At least we hope so. With the help of physical therapy and daily home exercises, I train my atrophied muscles to work again. Even so, nothing on my right side seemed right, no matter what I tried. Eventually, my physical dysfunction has spread from my neck down to mid-thigh. Walking any distance is pretty painful. 1 block is sheer misery for me. It might as well be 5 miles. Stairs I avoid at all costs unless it's an emergency. Now, I'm really fortunate that I've exercised all my life. I've always enjoyed the sensation of my muscles working. I became a respectable lap swimmer during our years in Chicago, practicing with a local bunch of masters swimmers at the local YMCA. I cross-trained using weights, and I was on the circuit machines 3 or 4 times a week. I was buff. But you know what? Even though I looked great, had a beautiful little girl, and worked at a plum research job at the national headquarters of the YMCA, I didn't like myself very much. I was always finding fault with myself. Your hips are too large, your backside should be firmer, your triceps are wimpy. As is often the case with adults who are survivors of childhood abuse, I was filled with self-hatred. Rather than being friends with myself, I found all kinds of reasons to cut myself down. It seemed like my physical body belonged to somebody else, not me. Now, my muscles are in a constant state of contraction. They are not keen on being stretched out, and they let me know that. Yoga and pool workouts have become a mandatory part of my life. Truth be told, pool workouts are excruciating for me. I gasp, grunt, swear under my breath.